Hey guys, welcome to Boxing Squared for boxing news and views from around the internet. Joseph Parker's promoter Duco Events, it has reacted to the Hennessy Sports announcement that Parker's upcoming fight with Hughie Fury will be broadcast on YouTube pay-per-view for UK and Northern Ireland fight fans. Hennessy, which promotes Fury and is running the event in Manchester, well, it confirmed the YouTube arrangements a couple of days ago. Just a paltry 2.5 weeks out from the fight on 23 September. So the cost there, £10 for the UK, €12 for the Northern Ireland, but the price does go up the later you leave it. £5 in the week of the fight and €5 for Northern Ireland. So that's up to 15 and 17 respectively. Before I get to the Duco statement though, I'll also cover off two other things in this video which I think you'll be interested in. The undercard for Parker Fury, well, it's even more dire than it was previously, with Conscient confirmed as out. He's off the bill through injury. And also, I'm sure some of you will get a kick out of this, Hennessy Sports, who I've been needling in recent days and weeks trying to get comment from, well, it has blocked me on Twitter. More on that soon. So Duco Events, you might be wondering why. Well, why did I even bother seeking comment from them in the first place? So Duco, if you didn't know, it holds the broadcasting rights for the 23rd September fight for New Zealand, Australia and Samoa. In New Zealand, the fight will cost just under $40. In Australia, it will be broadcast on Main Event, unsure of that cost as of today. And it'll be broadcast on TV3 in Samoa. So, well, given the fight is now being, through Hennessy, being broadcast over the internet, and Hennessy have undercut Duco on price by quite a bit, for New Zealand at least, that's what we do know, there is the possibility that New Zealand fans could get crafty and use technology like a virtual private network, VPN, to access the cheaper YouTube pay-per-view, which obviously that takes money out of Duco's pocket and puts it in Hennessy's. I'm sure there will be some sort of control and lockdown in place, but let's face it, there's some good kit out there. It's readily available. If you want to, you can get some free stuff, or you can drop a few bucks, and you can get technology to sort of do this stuff. Where there's a will, there certainly is a way. So I put two questions to Duco the other night. What was their take on the YouTube pay-per-view? And what was to stop those in New Zealand, Samoa, and Australia accessing it instead of the other arrangements in place? Here's the response, which I thought was quite clever. All this means is that people can watch Hughie get knocked out live by Joseph on YouTube rather than wait a couple of hours to see the upload. I did have a good chuckle at that when that first came through. So while it's a good line though, it doesn't really go to the heart of the issue, which is Duco could potentially lose out here on revenue. Potentially. I'm sure they'll be trying to run this issue down to sort of see what their potential exposure is, if any. It might be minimal, but either way, we'll probably never really know. They won't say. I mean, let's face it though, if you're watching this video, it's more than likely that you're a hardcore boxing fan or a keen Parker fan. So the casual fan though, who might be tempted to get the fight, they're probably going to investigate those options in a couple of days before the broadcast. So before it's, a couple of days in the lead up to the fight. And how will they do that? Well, they'll likely look for some TV listings. They'll look for a channel and a price. So, they may not even really be aware of this YouTube option and how to game it, even if that did sort of come to pass. But I must say, I did like the Duco line. I'll say it again. All this means is that people can watch Hughie get knocked out live by Joseph on YouTube rather than wait a couple of hours to see the upload. Okay, on to Conscient. So I'm a little late to the party on this one, despite it being mentioned in the comments the other day by subscriber John Gower, I believe. So it doesn't appear that there was actually any official statement on this injury that Conscient's got. So nothing from Hennessy that I can find. Surprise, surprise. So the 6-0 Irish heavyweight, well, he has confirmed on his social media he suffered a fractured hand in sparring. So Sheehan on Facebook, see the post on screen, basically saying, he's gutted he's not going to fight, and when will this nightmare of a year end? This is a real shame that Con Shan's been forced out here, because he is a decent prospect. And as stated previously, given the state of the undercard, Shan's fight, it was the only one outside of the main event I was actually looking forward to. I mean, at this rate, I'll be peeling myself out of bed as Parker and Fury begin their ring walks. I mean, you probably think I jest, but I'm definitely considering it. So before I close things out, I was doing a quick trawl on some Twitter feeds just to check out different Twitter handles, see if there was any news for note, and I went to go to the Hennessy Sports Twitter handle, but nothing was coming out. So a bit more investigating, and lo and behold, this pops up, see on screen. And clearly you can see I've been blocked. So Hennessy Sports obviously don't like a scrap of negative or contrary opinion about how it is handling the build-up to this fight. To stay on side with them, it's clear that you have to dish out, some sycophantic and fawning praise. With me, that's not going to happen. I'm just going to tell it like it is. So just for a laugh though, like we've had all during this build-up, let's review how things have been going. Because, Hennessy obviously don't like what I'm saying, so maybe we should recap on some of that. How about that, Hennessy? So persistent talk of poor ticket sales. That has been rife and rampant in recent weeks. And the top tier of the Manchester Arena is not even being opened up. The undercard of the fight is poor. It's not up to the standard of a world title fight. A world title fight deserves much better. Promotional activities. Well, if there's been much of that going on, I haven't seen or heard of it. And given that there's very little buzz about this fight beyond hardcore fans, it probably tells you about what sort of promotional activity has been going on. Hennessy Sports, it paid Duco's share of the purse. Late. Not just a little bit late, but late. The slow developments in the UK, and this is according to Duco, it has directly delayed the New Zealand, Australian and Samoa broadcasting announcement, and as such the associated advertising that goes with that. So that's all on Hennessy. And then after an age and delay, Hennessy Sports finally announced YouTube as the broadcasting partner for the UK and Northern Ireland. They had the audacity to claim it was their first option. Oh yeah? Do you think we're stupid and born yesterday? It's apparent to most, and if it's not, it should be, that this was some last-minute option and a ham-fisted attempt to ensure that the fight gets broadcast because the other options have fallen over. If YouTube was truly the number one option, and you've been working with them for months to sort of get this sorted out, well, you could have announced this weeks or months ago that an in-principle agreement had been reached and pricing / other details were to come close to the fight. That's how anyone worth their salt would look to position it if all the details weren't strapped down but something was agreed. I mean, have you seen the channel that the pay-per-view is on? It's not groundbreaking. Instead, we heard nothing for months. No one had any idea what was going on and where they could watch the fight or how much it would be. So Hennessy leaves it to a couple of weeks out, and it's got just limited time to advertise the broadcast details in the UK and Northern Ireland. I mean, when you consider all that, I'll leave it to you decide if that's a good strategy to sell the fight. Like I've said, this whole sorry situation of a build-up has become the story, not the fight. The fight has become secondary to this lackluster, shambolic, and just disjointed build-up. But just to heap a little bit more on the pile because I can and I've got a long memory. Where has Hennessy Sports been in recent weeks? Not fronting, that's where. They haven't been answering the important questions, and that is a fact. I did a piece just a couple of weeks ago about how Hennessy were ignoring my request for comment, multiple requests, on important issues. Didn't even have the courtesy to respond to say no comment. There was no response to multiple emails and also Twitter contact. And I said in the video for that one, I would empty chair them at every opportunity. And well, here we find ourselves again. And because I know that there will be some new folk to the channel, I'll put links to the story covering this shambolic build-up at the end of the video, because there's quite a few things to unpack, and there's been a lot to talk about in the last couple of weeks. So the fact that Hennessy Sports has now taken to block me on Twitter because it didn't like my take on its broadcast arrangements, I find it hilarious in one respect, and on the other hand, it is a truly sad indictment of this promotional company, or alleged or so-called promotional company, and the behaviours demonstrated by those within it. Let me know your thoughts on Duco's statements, Sheehan being out, and Hennessy Sports blocking me on Twitter. I'm out.